Hello and welcome to the live show by Sobirov's Law Firm. I'm Rahmat Sobirov, and for those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks for being with us. These kind of live sessions are streamed live, and there can be some technical issues, so bear with us. We will cover different topics during our live sessions, but today it's all about your questions and the questions we received prior to our live sessions. So today is Ask Me Anything about business immigration or immigration as a whole to Canada. So how it works is we take your questions. If we take some pause to receive questions live, and then we answer them during the live session. If I cannot answer your questions, I reserve that question and come back to you if you leave your question as a comment. So this is how it works as a housekeeping. And also, if you missed this live session, live show, don't lose your hope. Leave your questions in the comment section, and me and my team will get back to you as soon as possible. After the live sessions, we usually hang around for 1 hour after the live session, and then we answer your questions immediately. Of course, anything you hear in these live streaming is personal opinion only. It's not a legal opinion. For legal opinion, please consult with your lawyer. Okay, usually I bring up the questions like so. For example, in this kind of format, I bring questions. For example, last time we had some questions from the audience, and we brought them in, and it was very helpful. Your question is here on the screen, and we tackle that right away together. Okay, so we have some questions prior to our live video, and while we wait for the questions to come, please don't forget to subscribe if you find this content useful. And I can see that only 15% are subscribed of those who are watching this live video. I would really appreciate if you subscribed and send us your questions. As I promised, we will get to those questions as soon as possible. Okay, question number one. Let me see. Here we go. Question number one is from Facebook, because we stream live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and also my personal Facebook on YouTube, if you are watching from YouTube. So questions from Facebook. When should I apply for my Canadian tourist visa if I plan to attend FIFA World Cup matches in 2026? Well, by the way, congratulations if your national team has qualified to FIFA World Cup. It will be a great event. 2 cities in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver, will be hosting FIFA matches. We don't know yet which matches will be in what city in terms of national teams, but you should start getting ready for your adventure of the beautiful game that is coming to Canada, Mexico, and the US. So if you don't have a tourist visa and you are required to get a tourist visa depending on your citizenship, I suggest that you start at least as early as January, because the processing times are, depending on your country of origin, the processing times can take a lot of time, a lot of months. So I suggest that you include the purpose of your visit as attending the matches, or if you don't have the tickets for the matches, just attending Canada, coming to Canada as a spectator. I suggest that you start as early as January, maybe February, because the event will be hosted in June. So by that time you have plenty of time to plan your stay, to get your visa, and then come and visit to watch the beautiful game. So another question from the live audience, we have Ejowoke Idiegbe. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Hi, does the knock code 412 fall under the leadership and innovation category based draws that might be happening in 2026? That's a good question. I don't memorize knock codes, but what we will do with you today is let's get that NOC code 412, right? So let's do the screen sharing and let's okay, let's remove this question for now. So let's do the screen sharing and go to the NOC codes, okay, together with you. NOC 412. All right, this is government managers, okay, National Occupation Code. So government managers, 400, government managers, education policy development and program administration. So I think it should be okay in terms of if this will be, depending on what kind of change will be coming to in 2026, right? So depending on what kind of change that will entail. So I can see that NOC 412 is about government managers, education policy development and program administration. These are usually professions in the government, administrators, government managers, school principals, and so on and so forth. The expected 2026 changes perhaps will only cover entrepreneurship. We don't know yet. The scope, we don't know. However, if it doesn't differentiate as to the area or industry, overall management level professions could be covered. I would say I hope it will not be distinguished as to public or private sector, okay? Entrepreneurship versus government administrators. I hope it will be a good change, but at the moment I don't, my personal opinion that in the past, government did not differentiate between industries or public versus private sector workers. They went all about NOC 00 category. In the past iteration of some kind of distinguishing NOC 00 from other NOCs. I think this will be the methodology of the changes. But again, this is a great question. Thank you. This is a great question. We will wait for the changes. And the expectation of the change is because these kind of professionals who are in, let's say, NOC 00 category, right? If they are of, let's say, advanced age group, right? Because of your age, you are disadvantaged in terms of getting CRS points. So government should recognize, and it's our opinion that government should recognize the experienced managers and giving them a pathway under express entry. Otherwise, experienced people of a mature age cannot qualify, cannot compete under CRS, typical CRS qualification, right? CRS points. Therefore, we expect that the management level, such as yours, the NOC 412, will be recognized somehow. Maybe it will go by NOC codes, specific NOC codes, or overall NOC 00 category. Excuse me. So another question from Facebook related to FIFA. It's a topic these days, FIFA World Cup and so on, but President Trump is trying to add some drama in his own style to the FIFA, but this is related to US visa. So question from the Facebook audience: if I have a US visa, can I attend FIFA matches in Canada without applying separately? I guess the question is without applying for Canadian visa separately. Unfortunately, no. US is a separate country. Canada is a separate country. To be able to travel to Canada, if you require a visa, you need to obtain visa, regardless of the event or purpose of your visit. You need to obtain visa separately for Canada. Your US visa doesn't give you an access, let's say, and the right to travel to Canada, right? Perhaps you have a US green card. If that's the case, then you can travel with a US green card. Up to 90 days, you can travel to Canada. But with a US visa, you need to obtain a separate Canadian visa. Kaihan is asking this question. Thank you for joining, Kaihan. Tell us where you're joining us from. Thank you and welcome. If you are already in Canada on a visitor visa, what is the quickest pathway to turn our status to PR through investing and starting a business in the jewelry sector? And which provinces are faster? Well, that's a very good question, Kaihan. In terms of PR objective as a goal, if the federal programs, they don't have PR unless it's a startup visa, okay? If you have a startup idea, an innovative, scalable idea in the jewelry sector, you may look into startup visa program. However, let me bring you something from the processing times. 1 second. The problem with startup visa, and I'll come to provincial programs too. So if you look into the startup visa, the PR aspect is a bit problematic right now. Let me show you why. So assuming that you haven't applied yet for startup visa, look at this processing time. It is unbelievably long. 10 years, according to this statistics. And by the way, Canada started to give you some more substance to that information, saying that there are 43,200 people on the startup waiting for their PR. This is the PR aspect. Startup, as you know, it has two aspects, right? You apply for PR and then you apply for work permit. Work permit is faster, but PR, as you can see on, I showed you on the screen, it's 10 years. So that's a federal PR pathway. But let's talk about your specific provincial nominee program, right? Coming to the second part of your question, which provinces are faster? In our experience, Alberta is faster, British Columbia is faster, Nova Scotia, Manitoba, and New Brunswick. They have entrepreneur pathways to PR. But again, that pathway, if you are looking for a PR in 2-3 months, none of them provide that kind of opportunity. Provincial nominee programs are designed to allow you to come to Canada on a work permit, change your visitor status to work permit, and then perform under performance agreement of that province, let's say Alberta, right? And then Alberta, when it's satisfied that you performed on the business performance agreement, they nominate you to PR, okay? You become nominated by the province, which means that almost it's a straightforward path to PR. Now, Alberta, we've done a lot, many applications at Alberta Rural Entrepreneur Program. There's a very good program in BC, depending on your jewelry sector, let's say, concentration. Previously, we've done several jewelry businesses. We brought them as an intra-company transfer or C11 work permit and so on. They concentrated around the Rocky Mountains, which is Alberta and British Columbia. Why? Because there are precious stones excavated from those regions, so which you can connect to your jewelry business, jewelry sector business. So my humble opinion is that Alberta and BC have great programs, and you can, in terms of your sector, it's better to be in those areas. Maybe you visited, and while you are on a visitor visa, you can conduct your exploratory visits, because part of the PNP program requires you that you do the exploratory visits to those provinces, talk to economic development officers, understand the needs of that local community for the business that you want to open. Then that allows you, because visitor visa is a great asset to have. You can travel to Canada, you can explore on the ground what are the requirements and what is the market need for your business. This is my long answer. Provincial nominee programs, I think, in terms of getting PR, are the fastest for entrepreneurs like you. Look into Alberta PNP program. look at the BC PNP program. And we have those program guidelines, free guidelines, on our website at sobirovs.com website, okay? So let me just bring that website just for you. So if you go to under business immigration, you can see the bolded text, right? Bolded text of PNP programs. Go to Alberta, and you can see Alberta PNP program guidelines. So you can find it. The same for British Columbia, and so on and so forth. So you can see this guidelines for yourself, and you know, if you have any questions, please connect with our team members, and it's always a pleasure to answer your questions. Now, another question that is coming from we received prior to our live session. Let's bring it in. Question from LinkedIn. The question is about startup visa. Why are SUV startup visa refusal rates rising so sharply in 2025, particularly in the business incubator and angel investor streams? Well, that's a mystery, but we have our opinion why it's being refused. At the moment, there's a huge pileup. As I mentioned, let me just bring it again. As I mentioned here, right, in the processing time, look at what's happening. Startup visa, and one second. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Startup visa. I will have to remove this. Startup visa is taking 10 years, and there are 43,000 people waiting in the line. These are, of course, startups with their spouses and maybe the founders and so on. We have an opinion that Canada, why 2025 refusal rates are so high. I think the approval rates are around 28%, if I'm not mistaken, on the PR side of startup visa. Why? Because I think they are focused on reducing the backlog. How do you reduce backlog? You refuse those incomplete applications faster. There are thousands of applications in the government's hands. When they see an incomplete application, they refuse it and they don't process it in the system. So they are not accepting those incomplete applications or dormant applications. They've been sitting there for years and there's no update on the startup's progress. So they are refusing easy, low-hanging fruits easily and quickly, faster. That's why I think the refusal rate is going up, because to reduce the backlog, you reduce the backlog and you refuse those easy applications, let's say, easy to refuse applications. And then you can see that in the work permit side of startup visa, the refusal rates are not that dramatic. It's still 27% down in terms of approvals, but you can see that on the PR side, government is refusing faster those applications that it considers incomplete or dormant or abandoned and so on. That's one theory, okay? You can read about that piece on our website. Again, I'll take you to our website. Here we have an opinion piece, a theory of why there's a drop. So see, the drop is significant. And you can read this article by our senior business immigration lawyer, Firuza Jamalova. This is, I think, what's happening in the startup visa world and the PR aspect of the startup visa. Okay, so now let's go back to your questions. Thank you. These are very thoughtful questions, and it's not an easy answer, but this is our theory overall. Now, another question from the website is this: how long should employers plan ahead when applying for an LMIA now, labor market impact assessment, given new constraints? Yeah, the low-wage LMIAs are being refused substantially. The approval rate in our practice is between 69% to 80%. But if you want an LMIA, a worker through LMIA, let's say next quarter, I think you should, it's not that fast. You need to plan at least 2 quarters in advance. So 6 months in advance, because you have to advertise, you have to get an LMIA, and depending on your location, if the unemployment rate is more than 6%, it will be very hard for you to get an LMIA as an employer for low wage positions. So employers need to evaluate their location, unemployment rate, what kind of workers they need, is it low wage or high wage, and give themselves a buffer time of 6 months to process the whole process of hiring a foreign worker, bringing that foreign worker to Canada. Or, you know, if the foreigner is already in Canada, then there's a process of changing the status. Usually it's not that easily done within Canada. The worker has to exit, or the application will be processed in the embassy, at the embassy level. So I would say, to be safe, 6 months to basically 2 quarters in advance, planning, hiring a foreign worker, preferably not for low wage positions, because low wage positions have a very, 69 to 80% approval rate in our practice. But other high wage positions, I will refer to that another article that we have on our website. So under employers, if you go to the employer section, go to the labor market impact assessment. We just updated this piece, and you can see here overall. Here we go. I think this is the one. So high wage LMIAs are being approved in our practice. This is not a general. In our practice, 90%. Global talent stream is being approved 95%. Low-wage LMIA application approvals, they vary between 69% to 80%. So go check out that piece at sobirovs.com website, and we will further update you on what's going on. It's the unemployment rate overall across Canada is 7.1% at the moment, which is higher than 6%. When it's higher than 6%, it's very difficult for employers, Canadian employers, to bring low-wage workers through LMIA. So depending on your location, of course, somewhere it's 6%, somewhere it's lower than 6% unemployment rate. So talk to your legal counsel, analyze the positions you need to fill, look at the time frame, and give yourself 6 months at least to complete your hiring process. All right, and another question. This has been very good. Thank you for participating in these sessions. Okay, now questions from YouTube. Hi, would you please explain what is the logic behind the processing time of startup visa showing as 10 years? Wow. Yeah, this is what I just showed. What is the thought process and what are the hopes? Okay. As I mentioned, the theory is that processing time is not entered manually, right? The system analyzes how long it's taking for a typical 80%, let's say, of the startup visa process applicants to get to the PR stage. So 10 years, it's insanely long. I don't think startups can wait 10 years. Startups disappear in a couple of years, you know? That's the system glitch in a way, because they are refusing dormant applicants faster to reduce the backlog. That's one. Second, they are processing genuine good SUV applications longer, because they need to have a thoughtful analysis of that genuine startup application, right? Genuine in the sense that it has a progress, it has market traction. It's difficult to refuse a genuinely operated startups. which are not dormant, which haven't been sitting for 5 years waiting for PR, right? The government needs time even to refuse those applications. So that's why the processing time is taking so long. Plus, another sub theory under that is because startups usually have multiple founders, like 3, 5, 4 or 5, they have to have all the documents completed for them to be processed together. They cannot be processed to PR individually. So that's why there's a huge backlog at that gate where all the applicants are, scrutinized in terms of security check, criminal check and whatnot. Everything should be done because they move as a group. When you move as a group, you move very slowly. Even in the IRCC side, they have to wait all the founders to be cleared, then move to the PR stage. So that's why the nature of the program already has a slow process built in, plus the backlog that we have. As you can see, as I shared on the screen, 43,000 people waiting for their PR under Startup Visa program. That overall gives us an idea why this is so slow. The logic behind, I would say, maybe filtering logic, is that government wants to see, before they award a PR for the founders, they want to see, did you run your startup? Did you have any traction? Give us a report. Give us a progress report. If your startup was left only on the paper, it was sitting for 3 years without making any sale, then that startup is dormant. So they better refuse. So they've been sitting, there are many sitting paper-based startups who, for 5 years, those kind of applications, they skew the statistics towards the 10-year processing time. So I'm sure that 10-year processing time has, as it was just updated recently. Before it was 51 months. I think 51 months is also too long. Now, 10 years, it's too much, a lot. But that statistics will be updated soon. You will see as the government processes the applications, as it clears out the backlog, you will see that 10 years going down. But again, that's an indication of that the program being very popular among foreign applicants, foreign startup applicants. But now there are a lot of them sitting in the pile for 7 years, 5, 7 years, without any progress. Those, I call them paper-based startups, waiting for the PR only. So that's my theory. Of course, I may be wrong. Please, if you don't agree with me, leave your comments and feedback, and we will look into your comments and feedback right away. Okay, we are back with questions. Let's see. Kai Khan is coming up with a question, follow-up question to his previous question. Kai Khan, thank you. The question is, can I consider Hamilton, which is outside of the Greater Toronto area, as a viable location, or are Alberta and BC the only best choices to securing PR faster? So please note that Ontario does not have entrepreneur programs at the moment. They silently closed it because during the existence of Ontario PNP for entrepreneurs, only 2 entrepreneurs were nominated, which was crazy, right? Only 2 out of hundreds of applications. So when it comes to PNP of Ontario for entrepreneurs, it's not there. So whether you are in Hamilton or Thunder Bay, doesn't matter in terms of PNP for entrepreneurs in Ontario. That's why I suggested that you look into Alberta and BC, because they have PNP entrepreneur programs that will lead to PR, okay? Other than that, in Ontario, unfortunately, there is no PNP for entrepreneurs at the moment. That's the reality we have to deal with. Okay, now, Neon Twe, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Excuse me. Neon is asking the following question. I'm planning to immigrate to Canada in June 2026 with my wife and 2 minor kids. I'm considering to apply through Express Entry. How could Sobirov's law firm assist me? Thank you. Through Express Entry, we specialize in business immigration and corporate immigration, right? Investors, entrepreneurs, business owners. If you qualify, we'll see what happens in 2026, because we are expecting that there will be a pathway for entrepreneurs to, under Express Entry, to qualify for permanent residence. At the moment, we don't have a clear pathway for businessmen under Express Entry, unless you have very high score on under Express Entry. As you may know, Neon, the Express Entry program is about calculating the points, getting the points, and then if your points are high enough, then you are invited to apply for permanent residence. At the moment, usually the business owners who are older than 35 or 40 years old, and they're older than that, they have very little chance to qualify under Express Entry. However, you can qualify under Express Entry through provincial programs for entrepreneurs. So maybe we can talk again. You can speak to our lawyers as early as January or February of next year to see what's the status of Express Entry, if there's any passage for PR through Express Entry for entrepreneurs and business owners. If then we can discuss more detail. But at the moment, Express Entry doesn't have a clear pathway for businessmen and entrepreneurs. Okay. So these were the questions so far. Let's take a quick break and come back to your questions. For now, you are very active. Thank you very much, and keep on sending me your questions. And don't forget that if you are missing this live streaming, don't worry. You can leave your questions in the comment section, and after this live session, we will spend another hour in the comment sections answering your questions, okay?
Are you constantly on the move, managing your business, and looking for a convenient way to stay informed about expanding your business to Canada? Look no further. Introducing Speaking of Canada, the podcast that keeps you in the loop on all things related to Canadian business immigration, delivering the latest news and valuable tips and captivating interviews, no matter how busy your schedule gets. Speaking of Canada has got you covered.
All right, we are back with your questions and my answers. So just a quick update. When you go to sobirovs.com website, there are many pieces of information and insights. Browse the website, send us your comments, and tell us what kind of topics are bothering you. What's that pain point you don't understand, or you need some guidance on. Leave your feedback as questions in the comment section, okay? Now let's go back to another question from the audience that we received in advance. So this is from our audience. Canada's immigration rules are changing fast in 2025 and into 2026. What new services is Sobirov's law firm offering to help businesses stay ahead? Well, we are considering adding new services to our portfolio, such as exploratory visits, organizing exploratory visits, and creating some useful PDF documents for startup visa applicants. We are also thinking of getting some networking organized for potential business immigration applicants. So stay tuned. When we make those services ready, we will announce through our social media. In the meantime, follow us on different channels. At Sobirov's Law Firm is the handle that you need to follow. And we will keep you posted on social media. I think it's been almost 35 minutes, me talking about your questions and answering your questions. Thank you very much for active participation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you find this information useful. I will wait for a couple of more seconds if we have any questions. Today was very active. Thank you for those who participated. And I hope that you found these Q&A session very useful. We do these Q&A sessions every month. So if you missed this time, don't worry, you come back again, or you leave your questions as comments on any social media platforms where you can find Sobirov's Law Firm. Okay, I think that's it for today. Well, I thank you very much for your active participation. Next time, we will have a session with our lawyer and discuss what had happened in 2025, what conclusions we can make in 2025. Of course, we have 3 more months to go, but it's a good time to make some conclusions and observations, and then we will go and discuss it with our business immigration lawyer. I can see one more question coming in. Let's see. Here we go. Hello, sir. I'm from India and want clarity about Francophone mobility, which leads to LMIA exemption program. Will all provinces have LMIA exemption other than Quebec? Yes, it's LMIA is a federal matter, right? And so if you go through Francophone mobility program and you are fluent enough in French, LMIA exemption applies across Canada for the provinces other than Quebec. So it is across all provinces. That's a good side of Francophone mobility program. That probably is, you are referring to the work permit aspect, but also consider, if you're French speaking person, consider express entry, consider more serious PR status in Canada, because lately express entry has been choosing around 30,000 applicants who are French speaking applicants. So consider express entry and also work on the LMIA exemptions for French speaking candidates. That's a great question, Kumar, and I wish you best of success in your applications. All right, I think that's it for today. Next time, follow us, and we will be coming to you with different topics. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.